Good morning or afternoon. How's it going? Will this screen show up? Yes, it will. Awesome. This was right. Okay. Cool. Howdy. We are back with more, jamming games and building decks. Let me go back to... What are we gonna do? We're going to first work with Noctis. I think we're gonna rework this deck. I played it. I don't like ninjas, I think. I think I want to build Noctis without ninjas. Like, maybe some of the good ones, maybe some of the great ones still, but like, I'm not gonna put in Silver Fur. Silent Blade can stay, Satoru can stay, because that just enables the whole game plan. Kaito's weird. Let's cut Kaito. Let's cut Ingenious. We can keep Fall in, right? Because that's until I get a hit. Or that's a guaranteed hit, rather. TFS can go. Student was funny. I played exactly one game with Noctis for some background. Sakashima Student came in as a copy of Apex Altasaur. Fought like 13, not 13, that's incorrect. Fought like 4 or 5 things, including the other Apex Altasaur, and then they flipped into Zakama. So, I felt pretty silly about that one. Higure, I would consider keeping, but what if we just cut it because it's $12? We still have a decent amount of ninjutsu. Let me sort by mana value, see what we've got. I'm gonna hit this late too. I'm definitely more leaning towards the create tokens and flash things in. Because my issue with ninjutsu is that you want unblockable creatures, so you're usually slotting in... Jin is going up in price. I'm not surprised, but that's crazy. With ninjas, you usually want unblockable creatures, which takes up a portion of your deck. That portion of my deck that's being taken up, I actually want equipment in there, not unblockables. And so it is a few extra steps to get to the point where I need to like equip a thing that makes it unblockable, swing in, ninjutsu it out, something enters, attach, etc, etc. Shuriken had to stay because that was an arms, right? Yes, okay. So, this ninja can go because it was kind of just there to be there. I like the one that makes a body. I like... Do I like the treasure one? Treasure one's alright, I guess. We'll take out Biting Palm. This is where I'm like, Biting Palm is good. However, Biting Palm is a lot of investment. That this could be like an enduring curiosity. Okay. Let's put in enduring curiosity. New category. Flash. Fey Wild Trickster? With a hyphen, maybe? Fey Bloom? Nope, that's the tap down a thing guy. What's the... Hold on. Scryfall. Fairy. Flash. Brazen Bar would also exist. Where... High Fey Trickster, not Fey Wild, wow. We'll also put Disc 4 over here because we'll touch that in a bit. I almost typed in Fey Wild again. High Fey Trickster. In that flash zone. I think we've cut decent ninjas. I'm considering Prosperous Thief if there is a different mana outlet that we kind of want to go. While we're here though, let's look at these flashy things. Champion of Fairy. Okay. What kind of bull is this? When this enters, return a spell or non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If it was bargained, the spell perpetually costs 2 more. Yippee. Okay. Again, I don't want to, like, I'm looking at win-win, and I don't want to be, like, paying for just going negative on cards. That's why I'm leaning more away from the ninjutsu type deal. Do we rock Bitterbloom Bearer, though? We might, actually, now that I'm like... Because if this happens, we flash it in mid-combat, we get to free equip something. If it's protection, like Swifties, then it is more likely to survive until our next turn, and then we make a 1/1 with flying for evasion. And I guess we're not doing the ninja thing as much, but it could help for that, right? We'll put this in the maybe board. Maybe not. Fairy Mastermind and Brazen Borrower, I'm heavily considering. That's a $21 card now. Oh, not that. Brazen Boarding. Yeah, no, it's an alchemy card and 2 a red card. How about Brazen Borrower? And Petty Theft. We'll leave these in the untouched zone for now. Let's take inspiration from a few other places. I'm thinking of specifically Marnius Calgar, and then... What other Esper Flash? Let's try Easy Drive. Commander, 3-color, Esper. Flash? How do you sort by... Also, what is this? What is this happening? This box was interesting, too. I'm glad we got more party support, at least. I forgot about Blink. More tags. I forgot about Myriad. Like, I have Myriad, but I forgot about Myriad. Tempo, card draw clones. $24 tokens. Interesting. Also, this is in the top outside of the top 1,000. I forgot about Trebuchet. This is very funny, but I don't think that's useful. Adeleine we already had. Adeleine was solid. Let's go. I want to look at my Marnius before I go directly to Noctis. Ooh, Wan Shi Tong is cheaper than before. Nice. See, there's Bitter Bloom Bear, but like, Marnius just cares about creating them, not creating them during combat. So this is where things get... You know, we're just gonna go back to... Create... Flash. Not Flash. Permanent... -O... Enter. We don't need quotations. Enters. Okay. Minus type instant minus type sorcery. Abyssal Harvester's weird, because I need to rely on things dying? Oh, right, color identity. I was looking at Corey, I'm like, Corey Steelcutter's great, why did I not consider this? Because Esper. Let's try that again. Game paper. Acorn Catapult. 1 damage to a creature or player, that creature's controller or that player puts a green squirrel onto the battlefield. Alright, hold on. I'm considering this. Let's put you over here and put you back over here. I am heavily considering Acorn Catapult into the maybe board. It's not great, but it's very funny. Ajani Fell's the Godsire. Hold on, what was... Wasn't that the Naya card? MTG Godsire. Yeah. Because I don't know if this token existed, or if so, this token was very rare. I guess I didn't know that that was a card that existed and that Ajani did that. Huh. I'm sorry, hold on. Exile a creature with power 3 or greater. Make a 2/1. Then put a vigilance counter, on a creature you control. I thought it said on all creatures you control. I was like, hold on, for 5 mana. Permavig. Kinda spicy. No. Whenever you attack with this creature and or your commander, for each opponent, make a 1/1 tap and attacking. This does not work because Noctis doesn't attack. We've been through this. Let's minus type Planeswalker as well. Because I don't, minus type. These will very rarely be able to create things mid-combat. Whenever you draw your second card, do a thing. This guy reminds... This, alas, reminds me of Talrand, so no. I will not. Thank you, though. Cast your second spell each turn. Wait, do I put in an Ancient Gold Dragon? No, I don't, but I am considering it. Andoril is still something I'm kind of considering, if it's not in my deck already. I don't think it is. That's an end step trigger that creates... This is weird. I'm leaning towards no because this is too many steps to jump through, but whenever you attack, create a food for each player being attacked. Tap X untapped foods, create X 1/1 tokens. Target player draws a card, then exiles a card from their hand. If a creature card is exiled this way, they create a token that's a copy of it. Okay. That's weird. I'm gonna say no right now. That's an upkeep trigger. First artifact spell costs 1 less to cast each turn. Real until you hit an artifact. Okay, Artificer class gives me something to do with my mana, but like, I still think that we'll have stuff to do with our mana. Astronaut's almost good, except it makes an artifact, not a creature. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, make a cat. Lose life, make a clue. Let's specify creature token, actually. This will clean up a lot of stuff, too. Alright, very cool, Baldur's Gate. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, put a key counter on Baku Altar. Remove a key counter, make a 1/1. Didn't know this existed. Not great. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, make a 1/1. And it also has card draw baked in? Heavily considering. Tap 2 untapped artifacts, make an Astartes. Tap X untapped creatures, look at the top X, reveal an artifact. These things are just solid, right? I can exert Basri to make a cat. That doesn't seem great. Not good for what I'm doing. Too expensive for what I'm doing. I forgot about this card. It's weird seeing Suspend X, right? Bear Blossom, Black Market. When you cast Blight Herder, put 2 cards in exile. Blink is the weird one with the... Blink is a saga, and sagas typically you don't have to worry about the order, except it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It was such a weird one. Bloodline Keeper. Just makes a body, which is very funny. This is the best rate we've had so far, I think, though. By no means. Alright, let's go back up. Sort by mana value, because I should have done that before. I forgot about this card existing. Eumidian Hatchery. That's target opponent, not you. I don't have Fountain Port in this deck, do I? I didn't even consider Fountain Port. We're gonna do that right now. music's all spooky. Fountain. Because Fountain Port is easy. Oh. I just noticed the words on the screen are gone. Why did it do it like that? What is being shown? Oh, it's because Chrome is being shown and not just the whole screen. We're gonna fix that real quick just so I can do the multi-source. Window capture. Nope. Yes. No? Screen cap. There we go. Left screen, no beef. Sweet. And so now, whoops, there we go. There we go. All is well in the world. Back to what we were working on. Is that a better rate than fish? No. All of these like Sliver Hive spawning bed are too expensive of a rate. I didn't consider this before, but Urza's Saga for the token isn't bad. And I have a few hits that I can get, nothing like overly crazy. I have Shadow Spear. Okay, that's kind of crazy. Actually, there are a few hits. Shadow Spear, Bloodforge Battle Axe, Soul Ring, and then there were more up here. Skull Clamp, Dragonfire Blade. A non-zero amount of hits. I might have twisted my arm into it. Automatic. Oh, it's literally already in my deck. Whoops. Maybe I didn't twist my arm into it. Sack 5 creatures transform into Ormondal. Yeah. There's the cat guy. Crawling Chorus, Crypt Breaker. Currency Converter is actually very nice. Maybe board. Whenever equipped creature becomes untapped. So Fishing Pole, ironically enough, will not work with Noctis. Fishing Gear would though, so there is that at least. Hold on, did I take out Fishing Gear? No, it's still in. Okay. What if I remove the... We're gonna re-edit some more things. Activate only as a sorcery. And also -0 Outlast. Hold on, we did that completely backwards. -0 only as a sorcery. There we go. We're gonna do this too. -T attraction. -T contraption. -T dungeon. Dungeron. Okay, what if we just did dungeon, actually? How about that? There we go. Minus T conspiracy. Conspiracty. I'm not messing with the stickers. We already messed with everything enough. Retrofitter Foundry's extra steps because we can... I guess it's pay 2, make a guy. And we can pay 5, make 2 guys? Consideration. We have a lot of things to consider. Boast is fine, but this guy will absolutely be dying. Let's see. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw 1. Discard a card, make a knight. This must have been in the... Was Kennerude the commander of the deck? No. It was the Eminence Knight, wasn't it? I dub thee Sir Hellraker, for now. Okay. Whenever you gain life, make a thing. Pay 4, make a body. I don't think we're going the Merfolk route for this, but who knows? Who's to say? Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put that many incubation counters on it. Drake Hatcher. Damage to a player? How much? I don't think I have many unblockable sources. Let's full screen this for a second. Jite is funny, but not unblockable. Shuriken is a way to get through. Blade of Selves is a way to potentially get a couple counters. Yeah, I don't think we have more than just Cryptic Coat. Cool. So Drakecatcher will not make it in. Legendary humans have indestructible. What is this card? What was this from? Commander 21. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, put a number of charge counters on this equal to that. Interesting. How much is this card right now? 20 cents? I feel like... Wasn't there charge counter movement shenanigans that just happened with Edge of Eternities? I guess... Hold on. Edge of Eternities Precon. What was the commander? It was the station. Not that one. The other station. Counterintelligence. Okay, so it didn't deal with moving counters. I guess that's why this random rare that costs 2 and puts a ton of counters on things didn't pop off. This feels... This feels like a really good card, right? If you are doing counter movement shenanigans specifically. Alright, let's not get too distracted. Back on track. Let's add more tags. What is this search without more tags? Minus O at the beginning of your... And we'll copy it, so I don't have to type it again. Upkeep. Paste. End step. This takes us from 557 down to 492. That is less than I expected it to, but that's fine. This made it to the first page now. Let's see. This is where we stopped. This is where we went back. Remove 4 counters. Inquisitorial Rosette is still one of the most solid equipment that I've seen. Do we bring in Jackrabbit? That's probably the best card that I've seen so far. Like, I'm leaning over Bloombearer, over Bloodline Keeper. We'll cut both of those. Belisarius Crawl. What did that do? Tap un... So this just made guys, for sure. This makes a lot of guys, though. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if you didn't lose life, put a quest counter on this. Activate only if you have 4 or more quest counters on it. So it takes over a turn to get out and up. But that's the best rate we've seen that's not free. Origin of Spider-Man does not work with what we're trying to do. Whenever you draw a card, that will get me punched in the face very hard. We're going to avoid that one. Combat damage to a player, make a soldier. Untap, put a Kithkin into play. Hello, Shadow. This was Shadowmoor, right? Yeah, Eventide. Forecast. Reveal this from your hand, put a bird into play. Okay. Not a great effect, but in a deck that wants to run Training Grounds, I mean, it doesn't get much better, right? Crabs you control get +1/+1. I like crabs. Seraphic Greatsword. I'm gonna re-add this, I think. Seraphic Greatsword. Since we're not going the ninja route, this absolutely deserves a spot in the deck. Because equipped creature gets +2/+2. You can avoid the equip cost with Squall, Noctis. And then it makes a 4/4. I don't want to discard cards. Tap 2 untapped creatures. Activate only if a creature died. And that makes another bird. Staff of Titania does ramp me, and equipped creature will get +1/+1 the first time I attack. We'll consider you. I kind of want it just to put forests into my Noctis deck. Make a 1/1, then sack a creature. No. The Birth of Meletis. Sack a non-token artifact, make a Thopter. When this dies, make X. We'll keep going. I think we'll go until we hit 3, or maybe go a little bit past 3. Also, this... I just realized this looks like T-Rex. Is it supposed to be a bird? I see, like, what could be a wing. Don't leave your crewmates behind, and don't mess with the guardrails. Man, I remember this card when I was jamming this in Standard on Arena. With the good old cycling deck. Whenever you proliferate, choose one. Not gonna work for my deck. When this is turned face up, exile another target non-land permanent. If I control it, return it to play tapped. Otherwise, its controller makes a 2/2. Do I bring this in? Whoa, what did that do? What was that? Okay. I might just cut out, like, a piece of removal for this. Just because, like, it does hit things like Smothering Tithe, and my deck is not equipped to deal with those. Sack this, make 2/1/1s. Whenever this creature attacks a player, this will not work with my commander. Cast a Knight, activate an ability. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Whenever you discard a creature card, put a thing into play. No. Discard 2 cards is an even worse rate than the ones I've been avoiding. Black Market Connections is upkeep, so it won't work for us. I'll consider Andoril if I don't have it in the deck already. I am realizing that it does still, like, it does the thing with Noctis that I'm trying to do. Bridge from below. Caretaker's Talent. I might just put in... See, we have so many, like, token elements that are in the maybe board, but not in the main board, that I'm like, this is probably not actually going to make the cut. Clavileño is a good card, but is it a good card for what I want? Whenever you attack, target attacking vampire. No. No, fun fact, it is not. Cosmogrand, I'm not casting spells in combat. Crowded Crypt is a big investment. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, this is a good card. Because this works with Noctis on any turn, by the way. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, make a 2/2. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. I attack with Noctis on my turn. Well, I attack with something while Noctis is in play on my turn. A creature I control entered during my combat. But it doesn't say during your combat. It says during any combat. So this is combat tricks. Whenever a player attacks enchanted player with one or more creatures, they put a... Isn't this... Hold on. Whenever a player... So the difference is I don't get the body with this curse if someone else attacks them. Okay. Target player draws a card. Another player creates a 4/4. That's a really good effect. That's a really good effect. Put a thing into play. We can just give the 4/4 to the least problematic player. Reveal the top card if it's a creature card, and make a 1/1 if it's a land. Put it onto the battlefield. If it's a non-creature, non-land. No, I don't think I will. I would consider this if it was a tap ability and not pay 2-tap. Make a Gnome. The Fire Nation Trebuchet. We'll consider you. We'll consider the Trebuchet. Sack a creature. Make some counters. Remove a counters. Make a treasure. Sack an artifact. Make a creature. It's close to good, but it's not what I'm looking for. Geist of Saint Traft. I get smacked by this card on a... I think it's either this card or a card similar to this. I get smacked by it on Arena, and I'm like... I get so bullied. Pay 1 life, make a 1/1 with lifelink. That is a very good rate, and that can happen not my combat. I'm bringing that in over the Trebuchet. Sorry, Trebuchet, you were not quite good enough. Halo Fountain's already in my deck. Alright, we have cards to consider, I think, right now. Let me just look if there's any other spicy things that I could want. Magus of the Brit. This art is so good. This art is incredible. I'm not gonna download the art crop, but I am gonna open it in a new page. Look at this art. The zoom did nothing. Okay. Alright. Draw second card. Mordor. Are there 2 trebuchets? There are 2 trebuchets, I realize. Oh, goblins and or orcs. Okay. So it's not quite as good as Fire Nation trebuchet. Cast non-creature spell. Fairies deal combat damage to a player. That player makes the thing. Not quite what I want. Of herbs and stewed rabbit. Okay, for a second, I saw of herbs and I'm like, oh, this is Bloomburrow. And then I saw and stewed rabbit, I'm like, oh, this is not Bloomburrow. Upkeep, creature spell, Pawn of Ulamog. Schism is so good. Schism is so good. Whenever a creature you control dies, sack it. Rondankatan. Or I haven't played 3. I don't know his name. We'll play 3 eventually. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, make a 1/1. When you do, return an equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. How have I not considered him in this deck yet? I feel like that's just a severe lack of awareness on my part. I'm glad we kept scrolling. We'll stop on this page because we have so many cards to go through already. Okay. So we have some maybe board cards. We have 22 maybe board cards. I'm going to remove Sword of Faff because it was existing and I just don't want it. Ancient Gold Dragon might be too cute. And that saves $20 from the consideration list. What else was in here before? I felt like there was 1 or 2 other cards before I started adding to this list. I think Talent is too cute. Maneuver was one of them. Maneuver can stay. Jacked Rabbit puts a ton of bodies. Interested. Put you in Flash and then change your category to interested because we'll put it in alright, I guess, actually. It's alright, I guess. This will go into Phenomenal. I kind of wish I didn't type in interested and make a category for it. I am less interested in this one. So, alright, I guess. We're at 98, and we would be at 96 if we don't use any alright, I guess, cards. And we might cut this ninja still. I'm gonna say Phenomenal because I don't have Equipment Recursion in the deck right now, and I really should. I played against the one game I played with Noctis. I went turn 1 tap land, turn 2, untapped land, cast Shadow Spear and the Dragon Blade, wherever it is, Dragonfire Blade, and then 2 players later, in turn order, they went, I have Ashling out, I'm going to invoke Ignite Chewer and destroy both of your equipment, and I'm like, I hate it here. I have no one to blame but myself. Staff of Titania is very funny. I think this is phenomenal because A, it ramps you, and 2, it also makes a body, so you get to re-equip something somewhere, right? Like, there's no way that's not good. Curse of Disturbance is phenomenal and is going in the deck. So is this one because it can be activated on any combat. Brazen Borrowers, alright, I guess. Acorn Catapult should not go into this deck. It should not go into this deck. Currency Converter. I'm putting it in alright, I guess, but I do think it will be bumped up to phenomenal. Whenever one or more tokens enter under my control, make a 1/1. Okay. This is a lot more conditional than I expected. Baron goes. Target player draws 1. Someone else makes a bot. Okay. These, you get to go. You get to go. Because I like these 2 way more. Jackrabbit is still on the precipice of alright, I guess. Geist of St. Traft, I think, can go. Tap 2 untapped artifacts, make a guy. This is not bound to combat, or not bound to sorcery speed, or my turn. And I get to keep up mana for Noctis. I'm going to keep that. This will cut. Andoril is alright, I guess. We'll consider it. Standard might have ruined me, because maybe Preacher isn't actually good in this, and maybe I'm just out of my mind. Fairy Mastermind is good, but Fairy Mastermind is so expensive now. I remember when this was like $7. It's rotated out of Standard, so it's any other format that's driving this price. Okay. We have to make 7 cuts, and we have 7 cards in our right, I guess. I don't think that they're all staying, that they're all getting cut, though. I'm gonna cut Prosperous Thief. Ninjutsu just feels so bad to me, because I'm pumping all of this mana in and going even. Like, all of the cards that I'm tempted to keep in either make a body, copy something super useful, or give me a card. And I think that that's the only ninjas that I'm going to keep in here. Let's change Flash to any combat. Because then we can put Glasscase Heart in there and Curse of Disturbance in there. Jackrabbit, see, I'm considering Jackrabbit, but realistically, how often will I have 5+ pieces of equipment? I talked myself into it. Or out of it, rather, I guess. That's a better way to put it. Currency Converter is any combat. This is any combat. This is any combat. This is just my combat. This is just my combat. This is technically any combat. Let's cut. 2/4 is such a good stat line. Alright, Andoril, you made it into the list just to get cut again. I apologize. Staff of Titania is very funny. I'm keeping it. Hold on. There was a staff, right? I guess I would be subbing out Staff for Wand, right? Staff of the Holy King. Yes. So I do get to at least make the questionable flavor choice into a great flavor choice. Staff of Titania goes into the Royal Arms category. And we move Wand of Orcus, which was the stand-in, just over to Body Makers. So our Royal Arms are a little bit more on brand, on point. Interaction. Didn't I have a recursion? No. This will just go in supporting cards then. And this will go into Body Makers. And we're down to 4 cuts. Attacks a player with the most life or tied for most life. Make a 1/1. It competes with Noctis's mana value, so I will leave it out. Okay, if I go 1-drop, 2-drop Noctis Belisarius Crawl, that's really good. Like that's really good, right? Let's say, what would I say? What would I say? Turn 1, I guess, Skull Clamp or Dragonfire Blade would be the best. Turn 2, Swifties. Turn 3, Noct. Turn 4, this. Equip Noctis with, Swifties. But at that point, why not just Greaves? I guess Greaves, I'm still... The issue with Greaves is that I don't want to give my thing Shroud. I want to give him Hexproof. Do I even have one of these? Hold on. I might not have a Fairy Mastermind, in which case, if I am putting this deck together, I am not using Fairy Mastermind. And therefore, I'm not even going to consider it in the test deck. Nope, I have a Mastermind Plum and a Vizzini Criminal Mastermind. But I sold my Fairy Mastermind for like $10, I think. Cow bummer. Down to 2 cards. Enduring is great. Enduring is very nice. I like the card draw. I just realized this is a 0/1. A 3-drop 0/1. Maybe we'll slide this back over to the maybe board. Maybe the stat line dictates that it probably shouldn't be in the deck. I'm a sucker for Song of Storms, man. Let's group by price. Shadow Spear is a $60 card. That is absurd. Do I have a Shadow Spear, right? Maybe I don't. Did I sell my Shadow Spear too? Ah, man. I can't cut it though. Because Shadow Spear is one of like the only Royal Arms spears. There's so little spear equipment in Magic. Okay. Can we cut a ninja? This is funny but expensive. You get to cast a spell for free, so you get to... If Noct is still out when you ninjutsu, you get to re-equip something else. Whenever you activate ninjutsu, look at the top 3. I forget this ability so much. Also, why don't you cost 3 to ninjutsu? Arena has spoiled me. Exiles the top 2. Until end of turn, you can play those cards. Return target creature from that player's graveyard into play. Like, I like all of these. I'm still iffy on Pull from Eternity. Noctis has a glaring weakness where, let's say, any of your 3 opponents, if a single one of them runs a Stifle effect, Noctis is just stuck there for the rest of the game, because you return it, it's a triggered ability that returns it from exile. If somebody counters that ability, you're out your commander the rest of the game. Maybe I just cut Pull from Eternity and deal with that fact, right? Like, how badly does the deck hurt if I don't have Noctis? I just cheat on equip abilities? Which is really bad. It's bad, but it's not like the worst. Muddle the Mixture can find me a 2-drop. I think I'm willing to give that a try in the future. I'll probably test this deck out a couple more times, see if... I feel like the ninja count is probably solid now. With... Like, I had like 2 or 3 times the amount of ninjas, and it just was clunky. I was not going positive on creatures, and I just did not like that. I think I like the Body Maker, the Token Maker, Flash in on combat effects a lot more. This is expensive too, right? Yeah. $15-ish. This was... Oh, this was Capenna. I had forgotten that this was, new Capenna Commander. Which... That was the decks with Henzi, Toolbox, Tori. What other commanders were Capenna? I am struggling to remember. New Capenna Precons. New Capenna Commander decks. Oh, the Painter. Okay. So we had... I forgot Perry the Pulverizer was a commander. Hold on. I forgot about all of these command. I have this in my Titus deck. I didn't realize you were the face commander of a deck. So we have the Subtle Brush. Whenever a permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell unless they pay 4 life. Whenever you copy a spell, up to 1 opponent can also copy the spell. They get to choose new targets. Interesting. If this was any other mana value, I would have considered this for Firelord Azula. I remember Henzi. Henzi's a classic. That was the deck with the Beamtown Bullies in the secondary slot, I think. Kit Kanto. When it enters, make a 1/1. At the beginning of combat, on each player's turn, you can tap 2 things. If you do, target creature that player controls gets a buff and is goated. Interesting. Speaking of goated, the Cypher Balaam Rival deck is kind of nice. I really like that deck. Okay, we're going to show off that deck a little bit because some people probably weren't here. Nobody was here when I built that deck, actually. I built that off stream. Okay, this is the... I think this is where we'll leave Noctis. I think it's so funny. It's so funny that we get to have a reason to leave in this forest making card because of the Royal Arms staff. Okay. The Royal Arms I had to get a little bit weird with, because, like, there's no chainsaw or chainsaw-looking thing in Esper colors. There's just chainsaws in, like, red. And this was the only katana that I could find that was, like, even relatively useful. There's a shield, which this is the only meaningful shield, Captain America's shield. And then this, I think this was the Father's sword. Staff, spear. No, this was... One of these was the Father's sword. The other was Noctis's sword. And I think Heirloom Blade was the one that I was counting as Noctis's sword. And this is the, Nope. It's backwards. Father's sword. Noctis's sword. Because you get access to Warp Strike. And this blinks a creature. There was a shuriken. There's an axe. There wasn't a hammer, there was a mace. That's why Mace of the Valiant stayed in the deck, right. And this card gets a lot better with my new token friends, doesn't it? Okay. The Ninja's Blades are katana, I think, but there's literally a dual blades weapon, a Royal Arm. This one is in there because of, like, there was a... This is the last one. This is the last iffy one. Behold, a bow. Which, it kind of was a crossbow in-game, I think, from what I remember, but... Sure, it's a stretch. We'll work with it. Okay. I think I need to test this deck out a lot, but I like where it's at. I will posit to my friend group about the odds of Magic tonight. Apparently there was an Instagram leak. Excuse me. Bad sneeze. I'll be getting some crazy emails. Alright. Noctis is done. Let's, I guess, bring you back in line with this. Was this done? I was making cuts on Disc 4 Trauma with Edea the Sorceress. So, let's go over Edea again. Beginning of combat on your turn, gain control of a creature. Untap it. It gains haste. Whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, its owner gets it again, and I draw a card. Actually, I'm wondering if I can use this as a form of protection? I know I can kidnap, like, it's kidnapping, right? Like, you're taking control of things, possessing them, etc., etc. So I have a lot of things like Insurrection and the like. Insurrection, random sack outlets, like Ashnod's Altar, etc. My 4-drop slot is very high. Gain control of all creatures with power 4 or greater, or 3 or less. Deals combat damage to a player, untap it. After this combat phase, there's another combat phase. Can't attack a player, it's already attacked this turn. And then Ultimecia was also solid. It was alright. But, Final Fantasy VIII. So I think our cuts are going to come from the 4-drop slot. This is so... We have a quarter of our deck costs 4 mana. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to its owner, untap the beast and draw a card. So you'll draw 6 cards before the beast untaps. This slots into a Bible deck, doesn't it? John Irenicus, Shattered One. This deck, I feel like, could easily cycle through your deck very fast. Creatures you control but don't own get +2/+2 and can't be sacrificed. How does this stack with... I'm thinking of... It's kind of a non-bow, right? Like, I can't draw cards. However, I could always just sack Garland and then sack whatever I need for the mana or cards or stuff like that. Sack a creature, add 3 mana in any combination of colors. Roaming Throne would trigger Edea twice. Is Garland a human? It would trigger Garland twice. Hold on, I have a question. Hold on. If you would copy this trigger, target opponent becomes the monarch. Whenever an opponent becomes the monarch, gain control of a creature as long as they're the monarch. I get to copy this ability. Do I... If I target the same player twice, do they technically become the monarch the second time? I'm curious about that. I would have to mess with that. I love Relic of Sauron. Go-Go's funny. However, Go-Go misses Edea's trigger. Pitiless Plunderer is good. Nightmare Shepherd is good. I might cut Grave Pact as a feels bad card, but I'm not there yet. I don't feel that bad, right? Firelord Ozai is spicy. Disciple of Bolas is spicy. This is a black card that sacks a creature and gains life and draws cards, not loses life and draws cards. Also, what is Disciple of Bolas from? Okay, M13. I saw the Tarkir Dragonstorm, and I'm like, did he get even more... Like, I know he was released in Dragonstorm, but did he actually get card support? No, this was just a reprint. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, exile it. Your upkeep, you can put a creature card, exiled it, onto the battlefield under your control with a finality counter on it. So, like, that's okay. This steals a thing permanently once I steal it with Edea. This copies Edea, this copies Edea. Target player gains control of up to 3 target non-attacking creatures until end of turn. Untap them, they block if able. See, that's funny, but, like, do I just want Misleading Signpost over this? This is a $15 card. When it enters during the declare attacker step, you may reselect which player or permanent target attacking creature is attacking. Oh, it doesn't reselect all? Huh. I thought this let you completely reassign. Well. I still think I'm okay with that. We're only down to 11 cuts left. I think we have to cut our black source. Like, look at how many... Hold on. Color spells. we have 29 black sources, 12 blue sources, and 8 red sources. Like, Rakdos is putting in some work, but that's still just adding to our black sources. Also, I think Norin is huge with Edea. Because the way this is worded sounds like I can cast him. Norin can't block. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may exile it. You can play that card from exile this turn. Also, poor Norin. Alright, Grave Pact, I think we're actually putting into the maybe board just on account of it costing 3 black pips, actually. Sort by mana value spells. Nope. Group by categories. Grave Pact. Maybe board. 10 cuts left. Let's sort by our categories that actually do things now. New category, extra Edea. I'll put this in here just because I'm copying the ability technically. Where am I going? Support. Yoink. Single. Gain control of a creature until end of turn, untap it. Where's Yoink Single? Where did that go? I'm just gonna put this in supporting cards because I'm leaving it in because of the flavor. Sack outlet. Sack outlet. Sack outlet. Sack outlet. I'm feeling like there will be a bunch of sacrifice outlets. I think this works with Edea in the sense that I can take something and give it to someone else. Creature mismanagement. Target opponent becomes a monarch. I'm gonna say Yoink Single. Extra Edeas. Where's creature mismanagement? This absolutely goes over there. C. At the beginning of combat on your turn. After this phase, it's an additional combat. Okay, so this goes under extra Edeas. Untap it, extra Edeas. Sack outlet. Sack outlet. Sack outlet. Yoink Single. Sack outlet? Maybe supporting cards, but... yeah, no, this is just a supporting card for now. Supporting card. Mana and reducers. Creature mismanagement. Supporting card. Sack outlet. Supporting card. Sack outlet. Sack outlet. Sack outlet. Supporting card? Flavorful? Creature mismanagement for sure. Mind's Dilation. I'm gonna put this in Yoink single because it's the first spell each turn. And we might need to break up our sack outlets into different things because there's a lot of artifact sack, like mana sack outlets. There's a lot of other stuff like that. Draw a card for each permanent. So this is a supporting card. Mana, 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 extra. Nope, this is creature mismanagement because I yoink it permanently. One of the best sack outlets. Creature mismanagement. Mana. I'm gonna put this in Yoink single. It's weird, and I'm tempted to put it in mismanagement, but it's not quite. It's not quite what I intended management to do. Unlike this one, which does bring it back under my control. Interaction. Hold. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste. How does that work with slip out the back? I don't remember. Until end of turn effects slip out the back. Usually no player gets priority. I don't think it works the way I am intending for it to. Gain control until end of turn, effects slip out the back. Ownership is irrelevant. The default controller is a player who casts a spell. Threaten effect ends. Control of tapped and phased out Grizzly Bear is reverted back to Amy. Okay. Kind of what I expected. Was kind of hoping otherwise. Okay. We're at 36 land. I feel like 36 lands with the modal face card is necessary given what is happening. So we will put this in interaction protection. Same as this card, which the category was made, but not actually made, if you know what I'm saying. Interaction protection, mana, interaction protection, sack outlet, interaction. Yoink single? Interaction protection, yeet. Creature mismanagement. I want to saw in half my things. Did I not have a card draw section? I always mark it as card selection because sometimes I'm going 1-for-1 on cards, not up, so it's not advantage. Oi, Grish. Howdy, howdy. I feel like Actually, I don't know if you would like Edea. Final Fantasy aside, right? This is a very weird deck, though. 5-drop, Ward 2, beginning of combat, gain a thing until end of turn, untap it, gains haste. Whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, it comes back under its owner's control, and you draw a card. Yoink, single. Yoink. Well, I'm gonna say all, because that gets around what I was kind of worried about. Victimize, creature mismanagement, yoink all, creature mismanagement. Do I really only have one board wipe in this deck? Huh. I guess I don't want to wipe creatures, right? And then extra Edeas. How's it going, though? Okay, maybe Go-Go. That's such a huge mana investment. Go-Go can't stay. How many sack outlets do we have? 13. Let's organize these by permanent and single use. Actually, we'll put this in card selection. Card selection. Are all of these others permanent? I guess, yeah. Yeah, none of these other ones... Wow, there are 11 cards that I can reuse as sack outlets. Huh. Balaam spicy. Sephiroth is medium. Backside... Yeah. Okay. When Sephiroth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures if you do draw that many cards. It's so easy to flip Sephiroth in this deck. I don't think I have... I don't know if I have a Sephiroth. No, I have a lot of Sephiroth's interventions, though. Just sat through a meeting with a Coleman plant. Got a pat on their back for proactiveness for a thing you found and fixed that they refused to. Ah, good old corporate. Card draw. That is rough. Come damage to a player. Whenever you cast a non-creature, that will very rarely happen. I'm not going to put that outside of supporting cards. Can I count on Pitiless Plunderer enough to put it into mana and producers? No? I don't think so. Nahiri Fortune Fury, that is a fairly strong commander from what I remember. Not the peak of what is happening? Oh, is there a solstice somewhere? Or not a solstice, eclipse? Yes. Yes, apparently there is. February 17th. Working on making the Jumpstart Cube actually usable. I really like the idea you had with the cutout printer, sticker, proxy, whatever you sent me where you have the list on the outside of the box. I do like that idea. Nahiri. Fortune Fury. Affinity for equipment. Whenever an equipped creature attacks, exile the top... Oh, the top card of your library. You can play it this turn. You can free cast equipment. Okay. I guess this does trigger multiple times if you have a bunch of creatures, right? So this is a go wide equipment deck. Oh, Halo Foil. This Nahiri is more expensive than I expected, but it's because it's, Aftermath, isn't it? I don't have that Nahiri. I thought I did. What Aftermath cards do I have, then? What? Sort by group, but why do I not? Hold on. Oh, Mana Box is weird because it shows. Okay. Cool. I'm picking up what I'm putting down. Sent you the deck list. See if you can tell my strat. Let's see. Creature Maker. Creature Maker. Creature Maker. Creature Maker. Creature Maker. Creature Maker. Doesn't work, but technically makes creatures. Creature Maker. Creature Maker. Creature Maker. I think you're going Voltron. That's what it is. You just get one exile per turn, and that's enough. I think that's it. Living Weapon. Equipment, reconfigure equipment is interesting. I always find it very fascinating. So basically, almost all of your equipment, you want to refund an extra trigger with Nahiri eventually. It is an attack trigger. See, this is where the irresponsible part of me is like, but if you throw in extra combats, you get to attack with those creatures. It's still whip? Nah, I see 100 cards. I think you're done. Unlike me over here. I still have to cut 9. I reworked. I don't remember. You were around at some point during my last week's Magic stream. Because I built Noctis. I reworked Noctis. I cut like over half the ninjas. And put in more flash and token generation effects. Because I played one game with Noctis, and A, my equipment got removed on the spot, like turn 3. But B, the ninjas felt bad because I was always going equal on creatures, not positive, whenever I activated ninjutsu. It did not feel good. So I'll try the revamped version and get back around to you. Are any of these any combat, or is it just combat on your turn? Combat on your turn. This is any combat. Yeah, okay. I think that this will work a little bit better in the future. But we'll go back to Disc 4 Trauma. So I realized 29 lands is a bit... Oh, hold on a second. That does put a damper on things. This does work with tokens, doesn't it? That's really cute. I think you could probably get away with cutting some of the less impactful for Mirrodin equipment. Mirrodin, wow. Mirrodin? And probably be fine, especially... Oh, I just realized that Hold on. Nope, never mind. Nope, type, sort by mana value. Like... Embercleave is such a card. Yeah, this card's solid, especially in Nahiri. Dragonwing Glider gives flying, which is solid. Batterskull. Batterskull's repeatable, but it takes a lot. Yeah, Memnite. Memnite Ornithopter. So turn 1, Memnite Ornithopter, turn 2, Colossus Hammer, send, I guess. Either way, Memnite Ornithopter and Sigarda's Aid turn 1, turn 2, Colossus Hammer equip for free, Shadow Spear equip for free, send in 11 Trampling Lifelink, seems good. Seems good. What got you brewing Nahiri? Out of curiosity. I forgot that this isn't a game changer. This is such a crazy effect to not be a game changer, but like, I do get that Test Pro is a little bit better. A slight amount better, if you will. Alright, we can close out of view. Go back over here. I think Signpost is probably going. No. You stumbled across your copy of Nahiri. Fair enough. Let's change this to slow, actually. Slow. And then we can change... Oh, that's only once each turn. That's once a turn, that's a tap effect. Tap effect. New category, sack, outlet, fast. These are any of the ones that you can do multiple times a turn and or at instant speed. Nope, that's slow. Okay, so we've got 7 once a turn ones. Hello, Jim. How's it going? I am brewing a few Final Fantasy decks. I retwinked Noctis and completely removed the ninjas. Except for like 6 good ones. I don't think Cypher needed any work. Let me actually show Cypher deck. This deck was fun. I enjoyed this deck the other day. It is just intending to be a menace. You were just intending to goad things. I got triple triad because I can't not have triple triad. Categories. Okay, it is not sorted by categories. The sub-theme I had with this Cypher deck is that I can only use antagonistic creatures. So like Ozai, Karazakar, anything that was at minimum, slightly bothersome to completely antagonistic, ended up in the deck. I did have to look up Jet because I didn't actually make it far enough into Final Fantasy. Spoilers for Final Fantasy X, I suppose. She cares little for leaders or loyalties, so long as the battle rages on. That seems antagonistic. So as long as they were negatively aligned, including JJ, they had a spot in the deck. Which is why Zuko, during his conflicted phase, ends up in here. And it made it a lot easier to... Like, I built this in, like, 30 minutes. But it's just intending to goad everything, and it definitely did that job well. But then we lost to Shelby's Abaddon the Despoiler, because that is a crazy card. We let that stay around because we didn't think it was problematic, and then we took like 20 damage in one turn. Watching for a bit on TV, pulled up the stream on your phone so you could chat? Good, good. Welcome. Have you been brewing anything fun, cool, or exciting, or not particularly? Let's go back to Disc 4 Trauma. This deck can go away because we've finished it. Okay. What are we doing? We need 9 more cuts. Also, let me see if, speaking of messages, let me see if we got enough people to line up. Don't have anything super crazy planned. Would you be a 4th for, Would you be a 4th if Josh can be a 3rd? It might be this deck, it might be one of the other few decks. Either way. It's very funny that I only have... I think I'm only going to leave 1 board wipe in this deck. But Cyclonic Rift... Cyclonic Rift is a game changer though, isn't it? You're avoiding most spoilers, but you have had a shell of a deck set up since Magic on Atlanta. Spoilers for, Lorwyn, then? Oh, so you're gonna go into, like, if you're doing pre-release, you're gonna go in and just experience Lorwyn. Got it. I'm kind of in the same boat as John, where You being a 4th for Magic, yeah. I actually think that this will be very cool. I don't know how enjoyable it will be to play against, or play with, even. But it's gotta be better than Noctis, version 1, right? I feel like it has to be better than Noct version 1. Noct version 1 was rough. The 9 sources of card draw are solid. The Yoink Alls seem fine. Yoink Single, I think, is our best spot to cut. You'd play 100%? Very nice. Sweet. Let me just posit that to the group real quick. The Beast. The Beast is weird. I guess it's a Yoink 1 turn faster than Edea. So like turn 3 Ashnod's Altar, turn 4 the Beast, take something, sack something if I need to get rid of it. I'm not going to deal with Siphon Insight because as much as I like the card, I don't want to play with it on Cockatrice. For each opponent, choose Each opponent chooses Fame or Fortune. For each player who chose Fame, gain control of a creature. For each player who chose Fortune, you draw a card and make a treasure. I'm just gonna leave that. You built the Flip Legend Urdu with the beginning of your main phase? You realizing Nahiri also helps when you miss a land drop because you get to exile the card and play it? Mind's Dilation. This is funny, but bad. Maybe we'll sort by mana value soon. Domineering Will is still the one that I'm uncertain on. Let's sort by mana value spells. Our 4-drops are a lot lower than they were. Our 5-drop slot is very low. Chim, how do you feel about Urdu? Because I know Urdu and Isilu... I think Jay tinkered with the idea. I don't know what became of his deck, though. I think he tried it once or twice, and I don't know if he went back to it. He got enamored by Ashling. You're avoiding spoilers, so I will just say a Precon commander. Which does not help, given the fact that I've name-dropped them already, but that's fine. We're going to ignore that. You heard nothing. My brain did not think fast enough to avoid spoilers. Or it did not realize that point. If you would lose the game, instead exile this. And your life total becomes 1. What a crazy effect. Throne's good. That's mana. That's a lot of mana. You want to do aristocrat things, and the zombie Micaias, which is 100% misspelled. You are correct. Technically, it's not 100% misspelled. It is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is 4/7 spelled correct. You are missing a few letters in the right order. There's a K and an E in there, I think. But, like, it's fine. It's whatever. Except the token has flying and isn't legendary. Do I really need this many Edeas? That math does not make me feel better. Listen, I was struggling to do the math to begin with. I'm just gonna ignore what I said. It's fine. I think target creature you control, except it has flying. Okay. I think I like Spark Double more because of the fact that I can bring things back. Irenicus's Vial will get cut. I like Roaming Throne. I like Karlach. I like Bloodthirster. Spark Double and Strionic are the only two that I'm considering maybe not. But, like, I can also copy a bunch of other... I feel like this deck's going to burn through cards. I have to be aware of that. Do we just add a Spark Double? Or not a Spark Double, a Lab Man? I'm gonna add Lab Man just in case. I don't know what that means, but you get the point of what I was trying to type. Okay. Which means we went up a card, so we have to cut 7 now. This is fine. I wonder, can I sort by... Oh, I can. Sol Ring has a salt score of... What? What is your salt score? Where are you? Index, collection record, card info. Salt score of 1.46. What side am I building this on? Architect. It's where pretty much everything has been that I've been brewing. 44.78. Is it just because I have a bunch of cards in the 2 range? Wait, hold on a second. Where... Okay. View card details. Island almost has a salt score of 1. Island has a higher salt score than Arcane Signet. And that is... So does Swamp, by the way, and Mountain. Why are the lands so salty? What? Alright. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If this is in the right order... 0.57. 0.76, okay. 0.52. Is this not... Or oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Sort by salt. 0.83. Islands are so surrounded by salt water, you know? Islands, stupid autocorrect. I was like, I know what you're going for. That sounded so unfortunate. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do I just cut a card so that Island makes the top 10 saltiest cards in my deck? Also, Roaming Throne is the second saltiest card? Third saltiest? Wow. I'm not surprised, but wow. D-SWAT almost has a 2. This card is... okay. I didn't realize this card was so salty. No, I can't... I don't think I can afford to, but it's very funny. Because I would have to cut, like, Roaming Throne or Propaganda. All of the other cards. I guess, or D-SWAT, right? But, like, D-SWAT is in here because of the lightning theme from the, so is Invert Polarity, actually. But, like, look. There's lightning all over the card. The panorama literally has a lightning bolt. Speaking of, what's the middle of... Hold on. FF8 scene box. You moved to your computer to finish this deck for tonight, and I'm at least 30 seconds faster than on my phone? Fated Clash. Okay, yep. Okay. It is not a card that I can add to my deck, but it is a very solid card. Look at this card. 5-drop. You can cast it as though it had flash if a creature is attacking and a creature is blocking. Target creature you control and target creature and opponent control gain indestructible, then pop everything. Notably, it doesn't have to be an attacking and blocking creature, it can be whatever you want in play. 5 mana, instant speed board wipe. That keeps around like someone's Llanowar Elf and your commander seems very solid. The least saltiest card is Mind Stone? With a 0? This has to be salty, right? Oh, it doesn't have a rating yet. Talk about collateral damage? Yes, 100%. Is this not salty? This does. 0.05. That means that all of these don't have 100% be salty. So I don't think there's a point in leaving cutting a card to make Islands top 10, because some of these cards will definitely go up there. Alright, back to categories. Sort by mana value. Actually, let's just sort by mana value spells and go... I don't know. We'll just leave it like this for now. Alright, my mana value spells are sorted by mana value, so hopefully this will be very insightful. We need 7 more cuts. Oh, this is Animal Crossing. A remix of New Horizons, I think. I can't cut Cypher. I can't cut Cypher. That's the whole theme. Cypher really doesn't work in Edea, though. Cypher really doesn't work in Edea. It's purely flavor. Nightmare Shepherd, Kethek. Non-legendary creature with lesser mana value. John Irenicus. John Irenicus is funny because you get to gain control of a creature. You get to take a creature with Edea until end of turn, but then you give someone else the creature permanently. I think that overrules it. I think. Firelord Ozai, sack another creature, yoink things for free. This is just a tally with extra steps for cheaper. Menace Death Touch is a pirate. Seems solid. Let's cut Disciple of Bolas. I feel like we still need to cut more 4-drops, but I don't wanna. Let's cut Victimize. Let's not cut Stupor because it is a land, technically. Cut Phyrexian Arena because we'll be... No. Let me sort by categories again. So much of our card draw is selective. Like, we care about creatures dying, or we care about having creatures that we don't control do things. I think we have to leave in Phyrexian Arena just on principle. You're impressed? Not a single deck you brewed has a salt sum of 100? One hit 91, but none hit How do you have a deck that hit 91? What deck do you have that hit that? That's absurd. Now I'm curious about my decks before I call a kettle black. Hold on. My decks. Filter. Is there no way to filter by salt score? Advanced deck search. My decks, deck tag. How do I find this? Advanced option. Nope. How do I order by? Hold. That's close. What is salt sum? Salt sum is the sum of the... So, if you are familiar with the term salty, it is feelings of bitterness or resentment. Like, oh, you blew up my commander. Why did you do that? I hate this so much. That is salt. Architect, has ordered cards by their community-rated saltiness. So let's hit salt score. How do I... Where would we find this? Collection? That would be my collection, wouldn't it? So let's just find Domineering Will, because I know you had a Salt score. Card info. Architect Salt score. Actually, is it taken from... How does this work? Where do we see it? Is there a list with them sorted? Open card search, filter, sort by salt. Search. Filter, sort direction, ascending. Oh. Sort by salts. Okay, so it's taken from EDH Rec salt score, actually. So it's not specifically from Architect. So EDH Rec. EDH Rec salt score. So, for example, the single most saltiest score for 2025 is Stasis, with a salt score of 3.06. Players don't get an untap step. There's also Winter Orb, and Vivi is the third saltiest card of the year. Wow. That's fascinating to me. Is there a way to find... just a list of the salt scores? Salt vote. Yeah, so they're community voted salty cards. And they're ordered by... Let's see, sort by salt. Notice, a lot of game changers are salty. Cyclonic Rift, very salty. What is your salt score, though? 2.36. The guy above mentioning a score of 91 is insane. That's Grish. Grish is insane. Let's check this deck. The name is putting in some work. Apparently, this salty deck's title is Make Commander Great Again. This deck is intended to be salty, isn't it? There's no way this deck isn't intended to be salty. I don't know. This is not a challenge, but I don't think you can make a good deck the saltiest deck in Commander. Like, I don't think you can have 100. But let's take a peek. Putting in some work with Grand Arbiter Augustine. Staxing everything else, except for your spells. What is War's Wage? All artifacts have, at the beginning of your upkeep, sack this artifact unless you pay 1. That makes sense. Tabernacle in here? No, you could probably make it, you could probably up the salt score by including Tabernacle. I think you're slacking. Cause let's just take a quick search over here. Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. Salt score 2.68. Yeah, you're missing out. No, Grish is known for some absurd things. This one might be worse, Grish, than your first sliver deck, I have to say. Oh, there you go. Good job. What does it take it to now? It takes it to 93. You're getting there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would assume card info. Salt score of 0.92 versus 0.31. If you can find a way to make your lands saltier than plains, I think you can get there. This deck would be horrible to play against, but I think you can get there. It probably would also be horrible to play. Like, look at all your white pips. This is absurd. Alright. Hold on. Tell me you have. Tell me you have. Okay, you do have Smothering Tithe. Yep. Is Snow-Covered Plains really more salty? No, it's less salty. It's less salty. It's 0.29 versus 0.31. Alright, we're getting so distracted. Let's go back. Alright. Actually, before we go back, we are going to go on this tangent. We're going to find my decks. And see if any of them... if any of them are even close to salty. That I have. Not that I, have tinkered with or, How salty is this? 33. Also, this $40 Titus deck is now $57. Bracket 4 VV, salt score of 56. That makes sense. What about my bracket 1 VV deck? I'm curious about that. This is the Titus deck that I brewed. No. Yes? I guess I forgot Hardened Scales was in this. But yes. Also, it's less salty than the... It is technically less salty than the $40 version, which is very funny. Bat Yuna Standard, Forg. I do have one of these. 46. Okay. This is the closest one that I actually have in paper so far. Okay, I don't actually have this in paper because I don't own an Inquisitorial Rosette, I just realized. I forgot I just built my Squall deck on whatever I had moving around. Sonic is 47. I feel like my Atraxa 1's up there, right? This is my bracket 1 VV deck. 48. It's above the salt curve, but... it's just 4 card types. It's 4 card type VV. Oh, did I change... Yes, I did change out... the questionable cards. Yes. Okay. Top notch deck. I wonder what my lowest salty deck is. This is probably salty. Yep. Actually, this is average. This is like 1 point below average. Huh. This has gotta be salty. 44, above average. Okay, what about the decks that I've posted? My Nico deck. Salty. I think Atraxa is gonna take the cake. 48.6. Alright, Atraxa is... 54. Grish, my strongest deck is half as salty as the deck you're aiming to get salty. Alright, parent folder. Awesome. Deck fetching error. My decks. Let's try that again. Your personal highest is 33. Why did this... Okay, hold on. My decks. I forgot. I made a deck that was a gacha game. A deck based on pulling characters from gachas. And it's all like random humans or random characters from... Yes, that was it. I didn't actually finish this or post this anywhere, but I might. You make eggs, and your eggs are gachapon, and inside the eggs are Universes Beyond characters. And some of them are solid, some of them are mid, but like... This was very fun to make. It's probably not great. I would have to test it. Ready Player 2 version 2. It would be this, actually. 53. So less salty than Atraxa. What about Garth? 49. I apparently really like brewing in this 40 to 58 range. All right, let's see. We have some changes. 97.22. I think it's now just more because of an experiment than anything else. Expand section. Group by salt. Sort by salt. 3+. Alright. You're slacking. You can definitely get a saltier mana rock than Talisman of Progress. Your temple also has 0.01. And so is this Mystic Gate. Although, I just realized you have a Wall of Omens in here. Like, I get that it's a 0/4. It's salty. Oh, easy. I know. Hold on. Teferi. Which one? Temporal Archmage? Nope. Time Raveler. Salt score of where? How do I view this? Charts? No. Similar cards? Look at the salt sum. Where did it go? Oh, 102.23. Alright, this is goal shifting. This is goalpost shifting. It went up to 120. Also, what deck has... Look at this. There's apparently a bunch of decks with the salt sum of 0. Alright. Grish, I feel like you're going to single-handedly make a deck that shifts this by at least a few points. And now that I have said that, I feel like you've taken it as a challenge and probably will do it and send me a DM later on, but that's fine. This deck was gross. Yeah, this was a 65. Yep, that makes sense. I never brewed this. I played it once and said, you know what? I did what I set out to do. This is my Selesnya land destruction deck. I play cards like Krovax, which gives non-white creatures -1/-1, or Elesh Norn, which gives creatures your opponents control -2/-2. And then I play, let's not sort this by this. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. Building decks teach you that you don't know how to spell magic cards. Listen, as long as you can get the point across, there's been so many times where I'm like, I don't know how to spell this card, I don't even know where to begin. Oh, exile, type, sorcery, oh, all. That's what it was. I was looking for Avatar's Wrath. I forgot this board wipe existed, I'm not gonna lie. There are so many board wipes in the last few sets that have, like, been solid that this is just a mediocre board wipe. This deck contains a lot of the top salt cards. Okay, so back to this real quick. This can be better, can't it? Or did I? Okay. So Living Plane. Treat all lands as 1/1s. Nature's Revolt. All lands are 2/2s. Natural Affinity. All lands are 2/2s. Living lands. All forests are 1/1s. All forests and saplings are 1/1 green saplings. Yavimaya turns everything into forests, so all lands become creatures. And then using either Krovax or... where did they go? Krovax or Elesh Norn, you can pop all of your opponent's lands. With Krovax, you pop yours too, but with Elesh Norn, you keep yours in play. And so the goal was that, tutor for those legends once I have the stuff in place, and put them into play. It was rough. The only 2 cards in the top 100 saltiest cards of blue-white are Thoracle because that doesn't work. And Jin-Gitaxias because he's too expensive CMC-wise. I mean, Jin-Gitaxias costs 1 less with your commander out. Plus, you don't have to be the most expensive, the most saltiest, you just have to beat the cards that are currently salty in your deck. I was gonna say like Grand Abolisher, but you have Grand Abolisher, I'm sure, and it is definitely salty. It's so icky, convoluted, but icky. Oh, absolutely. I was like, how do I build land destruction, but not make it like Armageddon? Notice, I don't think I put Armageddon in here, actually. Yeah, I built a Selesnya land destruction deck without the premier legendary or mono white land destruction spell. I have a problem, and that is ADHD makes me do very, very questionable things. What was another one that I did? Before MTG Clue collab happened, I built a game based on Clue. So I had Lana's the cryptozoologist be the detective, and then I had various cards that were information. I had objects of interest, places of interest, suspects, the motives, and then the victims were all either dead people or... Yep. They had... This is a ghost. You can sacrifice this or it has a death trigger. You can sacrifice this. And then all of these were witnesses. They were here and saw the thing. I could probably revamp this, honestly, with the new Clue cards and such. What else did I play? Tracks of Super Friends, Iron Man bobbleheads. I think the most convoluted deck is absolutely Sisei Stacks. The silliest decks are either Clue the board game, the deck, or the Gacha, or my 14 Days deck, where every card is as many universes beyond, as many different universes from Universes Beyond as possible, which we are up to 30. Oh, did you say land destruction? Ah. I reminded Grish of something. Yeah, this deck will only get more universes as the years go on, and I am here for it. Also, very salty, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Let's go back to Edea, though. Because we still need 5 cuts. Let's sort by categories. Let's see what's what. I think our creature mismanagement, if there are any single-use ones, we might... Yeah, let's drop Saw in half. Saw in half or Ghostly Flicker? Let's drop Saw in half, because I always think that it is a removal spell, and it's not. It doubles up ETBs. We have 4 fast sack outlets and 7 slow ones. Our interaction protection, our extra Edeas. What about our single yoinks? I guess technically this is a a slow... All of these are slow yoinks, except for Domineering Will. So Domineering Will we're actually going to put in the Interaction Protection category and rename this to Slow. Is this just a normal Steel and Sack build? Yes. I got the Final Fantasy Scene Box, and so I was building decks based on Cypher, Squall, and Edea. I haven't built Squall yet. And then also Noctis was very interesting to me, so I'm building a deck based on all of these guys. Hold on. Architect. Duplicate, because I'm lazy. I built Noctis, and I built Cypher. Noctis I played once and had to rework, actually, because I was doing ninjas, but I really didn't like how slow it was, so I moved towards a token creation approach. And then Cypher... Noctis is your fave? You have decks for both? What route did you go for this Noct? If you built this Noctis, because technically there are 3. Technically, there's also Kenrith the Returned King Noctis. I feel like I like the token generation route more than the ninjutsu route. Because with token generation and with instant speed things, you can activate this ability on someone else's combat. Because Noctis doesn't care about it being your combat, it just cares about the token entering during combat. Or the creature entering, rather. So like Flash, Halo Fountain... I feel like that's the better deck, but I'm not sure. Maybe ninjas are just too good, but I feel like if I was building ninjas, I'd just want Yuriko. I don't know. I might test this a few more times and then tinker with it still. The one thing I had to make sure... You just went all in on the activated ability and built a sort of creatureless control deck. Okay, so you've got the stacks pieces like propaganda and other things to prevent people from attacking you, and are having Noctis just enter to equip a bunch of stuff for free. So you probably have, like, I would assume Panharmonicon to double up on Noctis's equip and stuff like that. This is definitely a silly, like, bracket 2-3 deck. Blood Funnel. Oh, yep. Yeah. Okay. Because this Blood Funnel does the same thing as... Is that the one? Yeah, Blood Funnel does the same thing as Mox Diamond, but you don't need to have a $700 card. Right. Interesting. Yeah, you need a $1.11 card as opposed to a $767 card. I could see the appeal in Blood Funnel. The one thing, this is absolutely bracket 2. I made sure that I had to keep in 13 cards that represented the Royal Arms from Final Fantasy 15. So I've got my spear, this is the closest thing to the chainsaw, because there's no Esper chainsaw. So I just went with a greatsword. You got the shield, you got the sword that fires off multiple strikes, your staff, your shuriken. I had to leave them in. I couldn't not. And that made cuts so difficult. Alright, back to trauma. 4 cuts. The thing with Edea being your normal Steel and Sack build is that I really want to keep the creatures. It's very goofy showing Blood Funnel and paper, but then you slam Ether Flux and everyone goes, ah. Ah. Yeah, I could see that being the case. Technically you can also get there with a few other... Hold on, what was... You had to sack a thing, right? Architect... Nope, not Architect, Scryfall. Go back to that. Counter it unless you sack a creature. Okay. So you could even do stuff like, literally everything I thought of was in red. Nope, ERY. So technically you could do stuff like Monastery Mentor if you wanted something to stick, couldn't you? Hell yeah, this card is less than $1 now. How times have changed. I'm so happy for that. Alright, we can drop Noct now. But, like, the thing with Edea is that, like, sometimes, yes, you are stealing and sacrificing things, but I want them. So, like, Conjurer's Closet, Thassa Deep Dwelling, Nightmare Shepherd gets me copies of them. John Irenicus gives them away to other people, which I think is hilarious. So all of these deal with... This one was interesting. All of these deal with me keeping the creatures. And Norin, Swift Survivalist, says whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you can exile it, and you can cast it this turn. Which is very spicy. You're sorry you've been sending me on so many side quests? No, I'm here for it. I have the attention span of a swift summer breeze, so it's great when I get to send it places. What do we get? What are we working with here? Technically, I should... Slip Out the Back is real good, though. I'm happy. I tested out my Cypher deck the other day, and I cast... Oh, where did it go? I cast Disrupted Decorum, and somebody was like, yeah, I don't like that a lot. I'm gonna cast a Dovin's Veto, and I said, pay 5 life, redirect lightning? And they were like, let me sit up a second, hold on. We playing. Alright, let's see. I could cut one of my slow sack outlets. I think I should cut Ultimecia. As flavorful as she be, you're just glad your brain immediately went to, I wonder what the highest salt sum is? There's probably... Okay, by this metric, you could probably make a very interesting, what is the least problematic deck. A deck that has the lowest possible salt score that still functions. And that sounds kind of wild. I might mess around with that. I might write that down, actually. Least salt... Least lasty. That's not right. The worst part is, I think you can make a least salty deck and still have it be salty to people. That's why it's so good. You try to play 2 redirection effects or REB in every non-blue or red deck. That's why I'm, like, so iffy on D-Swat. Also, this D-Swat has to swap. Hold on. All printings. This one is just so good. But this one is lightning. So we'll go with this one. You're a control mage at heart. So you aren't fond of the new goblin that was added to Lorwyn. Actually, as the control player at heart. Was it Vexing? No. It wasn't Shusher, because that's just Vexing Shusher. The first sliver is the highest salt 5-color legendary creature. I feel like that's just because Golos is banned. 100%. He'll be back someday. I believe. I want my boy back. Magic Spoiler. Nope, not Madge. Into the search bar we go. Magic Spoiler. Lorwyn. Look away, Chim. I'm scrolling fast so you don't see anything. Okay, I'm slowing. Hold on. Where is the name of this card? We're gonna go to Mythic Spoiler, actually. Lorwyn equips. Red. I love Mikatek so much. It's not great, but I love it. Hexing Squelcher. That's the card. You love the Goblin for your decks, but not to play against. My issue with it is that I think I'm severely underestimating it, because I'm like, oh, you just have to have a removal spell, and then you can deal with it. When you sent that, we were already on the page. We made it. Oh, this art's adorable. I love that. Look at that. Oh, that was some Mario sounding. That was some Mario sounding end riff if I've ever heard one. This is not the right one. This is the deck I was looking into. Maybe we cut Conjurer's Closet because it takes a similar spot as Edea. I think we'd much rather, like, play our 4-drops, this, especially Thassa. We don't really want to cast a 5-drop because we're trying to cast Edea on 5. So we'll cut that. And then we're down to 2. Maybe we can cut a slow yoink. You're of the same belief on the Vexing when you see it across from me, but if it's in a blue deck, you're scared. If you're a control player, it's kill on sight. Yeah. Speaking of kill on sight, we, the game I played yesterday with Cypher, there was an Abaddon at the table that we kind of just didn't deal with ever. And I feel like I probably already mentioned this, but I cast Disrupt Decorum. And I was like, awesome. Everybody has to attack everybody else. I'm safe. I'm at like 30 life. Abaddon went next and popped off and we all died that turn. It was like a 20-minute think tank into, alright, let's cast this and win. And I was like, you know, that's one way to get around Goad. Cypher really doesn't belong in this deck. is going to be crazy in 60 card or CDH for that matter. Yes. Yes, probably. Because we needed to give Izzet, more spice to work with, didn't we? Grand's already got hands, but, like, we needed to give her more spice. First spell each turn, exile the top card. If it's a non-land, I get to cast it for free. That's really expensive, though. I think that might be the cut. Sort by mana value of spells. Because this, I at least get it for sure, and it also plays into a Edea effect. This is iffy. So we'll cut that. And we're down to 1 now. 1 9-drop, 1 8-drop, 1 7-drop. Love how that feels. 3 6s. But it guaranteed gets something back. When it enters the battlefield, put target legendary permanent not named this card from a graveyard onto the battlefield. Mind's Dilation in the Big 26? I remember when that first came out. When? Mind's Dilation. Eldritch Moon. Oh, this is gorgeous. What was that in? I actually don't know what secret layer drop this was. This reminds me of when I found the like time stop secret layer and that existed. That's so pretty. All right. Eldritch Moon was 2016. That was the year before I actually got into Magic. It was the first Mythic you ever pulled? The first Mythic I ever pulled, I bought a deck box builder. Okay, the first Mythic I ever owned, I think I still actually have, was Knight of the Reliquary from Dual Decks Knights vs. Dragons. This was the first Magic product that I actually ever owned. My cousin got me for Christmas the Dual Decks, and I did not know what Magic was. I did not know Magic existed. Sort by rarity. But I saw big dragons, and I love dragons. Especially at the time, I was like, if there was anything dragon related, I'm like, I will gladly keep this. So that was the only reason I didn't get rid of this. And it sat in my dresser drawer for several years. And then until my then girlfriend, now wife, so my ex-girlfriend, she invited me over to her house, and her dad and her dad's friend taught me to play Magic. They had a Momir cube, which is probably why I enjoy Chaos as much as I do, because Momir cube is very fun. But that's how I learned how to do it. And it went downhill ever since, because I have a very addictive personality. Let's go gambling. That's also why Golos is my favorite commander, because gambling in the command zone. Yeah, that's a fun story. I play Magic way more than she does now, because, again, addictive personality. But I still have my Knight of the Reliquary. I don't think I have any of the other things. I think when Kinsbale Cavalier popped off, this did get a reprint soon, right? Yeah, it's a special guest in Lorwyn, I think, now. I had sold this a while back, because I'm like, I'm never gonna build Knights, let's be honest. So a lot of the Knights pieces just left. Good old Voracious Dragon. This card was spicy, I remember. Dragon Speaker Shaman put in work when I had an Ur-Dragon deck. Your first mythic was a Chromanticore? Still have it? I think there's something special about the first mythic you get. When was this mythic? Ah. Born of the Gods. Bestow for Wooburg. End 2. That's one of those big beaters that you can't help but smile at. The first mythic I ever pulled was in my first box that I got. I got a Build-A-Box, Beginner's Toolkit, whatever. And it had a Bantu the Glorified in it. Which is right around when I started, like, actively looking into, like, buying cards and putting together 60-card and or Commander stuff. Right around that era. And my first Commander deck... Oh, my first Commander deck was Spice. We'll just quick add it to here. My first Commander deck was Ikra Shadiki, Bruce Tarl. 4-color, generic good stuff. When this enters or attacks, a creature gains double strike and lifelink. When a creature deals combat damage, you gain life equal to the toughness. Spice. And Grish said, I broke 125. The goalpost was shifted to 140. Fascinating. Hold on, let's see what menace happened. For the low, low price of $4,400, you can have the saltiest deck known to man. And, also lose all your friends. There's no way. There's 0.7. Oh, Derevi. Okay. I, for a second, had to process you adding Forest to the deck. It's because you are in Bant. Is Gaddock really legal still? I guess I forgot that. This is absurd. Catastrophe. Destroy all lands or all creatures. Creatures destroyed this way cannot regenerate. Ah. Time Warp, Temporal Manipulate. Yeah, all the extra turn spells, that makes sense. And you get to add the Praetors in now? Yeah. First commander was Jared, Golgari Lichlord. Slugging it out in the early days of modern EDH as a preteen. How spicy is Jared? She went to Jared's. Spicy. This is one of those, you can tell it had that old charm. Random sack effect. Random return effect. This is the heart of EDH, especially in like the early teens. This is right up there with the other guys. It should technically be playable. Probably not well. Hold. EDH trick. What was I thinking of? Walking Ballista. Combos. Heya, Sun Crown. That's probably in here, right? No. That's probably spicy, right? I really wish I knew how to find the salt score when I'm just hovering over a card. You know what? Heliod. Sun Crown. That's a 0.9. Alright, so you can swap out. So you just simply swap out Talisman of Progress and put in Heliod. And then swap out. Oh, it's gotta be in here. It's gotta be salty, right? Something. Gaia's Cradle. $2.17. It's purely based on the individual's card score, not the score of a combo, which would be more realistic but harder to calculate. Right. But Heliod, with his salt score of 0.9, is saltier than any of these cards over here. So you can drop this 0.17 and put in a 0.19, or you can drop this 0 and put in a 0.9. How many creatures is in this deck? Uh, 24 creatures, okay. That also means that you could bring in Gaia's Cradle and... Oh. Come on, don't fail me now, brain. It's failing me now. To Scryfall. Nope, I got it. As soon as I went to type it in. Emila Blessed. This has to be salty, right? 0.62? So, swap in Emil for Night of Autumn, or something else that you might not care about as much. Bring in Gaia's Cradle. You have infinite flickers. Bring in something like, which this is probably also going to be salty, Talon Gates. Salt score 0.54. So you could swap out Ghost Quarter, for example, because this has a lower salt score, 0.26. And now you have infinite flickers, infinite mana, a way to turn that mana into colored mana, which means then you could also, I don't know, Walking Ballista for X equals 1,000,000. And I think that technically works and does boost your salt score. Alright. One cut. Can we make one more cut before the end of the stream without getting sidetracked? Probably before the end of the stream, probably not without getting sidetracked. Plunderer is calling to me. Plunderer is really calling to me. What was this? Animal Crossing. Crossing. I have already gotten sidetracked. I have failed immediately. I did one... I took one action, changing this to categories, and immediately got sidetracked. Alright. Okay. I think I'm at a point where I like Thieving Amalgam, I like Zara. The Beast is iffy, but it is a way to... I like the Beast because Edea cares about them dying, the Beast cares about them connecting. So it removes the incentive to just let a creature attack and hit. Like, with Edea, if you block, then the creature can die. With the Beast, it doesn't matter if they block or not block. It was so hard to put that into words. My brain was like, nah, we're not gonna tell you. Equal the mana value. Get things for free, make them indestructible. I'm tempted to pull Golden Throne, but at the same time, it refunds Edea. Turn 4 Golden Throne, turn 5 Edea, take something, sack it, cast a 3-drop. Alright, what is the backside of Ayara 2? At the beginning of combat on your turn, return up to one target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile it at the end step. That's really good with these effects. Because it doesn't say at the end step or if it would leave the battlefield. Okay. I want the other Ayara. What does this one look like backside? Yeah, I want this Ayara. Hear me out. What if we just cut a land and call it a day? I don't think we can... We can't cut a land, right? We can't afford to cut a land. I have a Surveil land. I could always tutor for it. What if we cut 2 lands, add 1 Surveil land back? Because there's Thundering Falls. Blue-black Surveil land. Or black-red Surveil land. Raucous Theater. Cut a... Well, let's sort. Group by color of spells. Lots of blue. Very little red. Okay, so we cut a red. Cut a blue? That looks like 100 to me. Surely I won't run into any mana issues with 34 lands. Let's sort by our mana value of spells. Surely with our 18 4-drops, I won't run into any issues with lands. Surely not. Surely not. I'll definitely tinker with it more. I think next week we'll finish up this. We'll build... You guys can get out of here. You can leave. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye, Talon Gates. Goodbye, Gaia's Cradle. Garland can be pulled because we already dealt with it. I think next week we'll build Squall. If I am testing it, which I probably will be testing it today, I'll also be able to tell you how a game or two went with it. But okay, I think we're solid. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. Ooh. Monarch is posting stuff on Twitter again. Which Monarch is the Godzilla TV show? Or I guess the show set in Godzilla's world, more specifically. I still need to watch that. Okay. That's where Edea will be. That's where we'll leave Edea. We'll come back next week. I'll probably have more stuff to say about Cypher as well. Hopefully I can get 3 games today. That would be the spiciest. It's 1:56. We are butting right up to the end of stream. We made it within a timely manner today. We didn't go over. So, I'm gonna hop on out of stream. I appreciate hanging with you guys, chatting with you guys as I build decks and talk about pet cards and such. Thanks for dropping by, Oceana and Grish. Chim, I'll chat with you later on as well. For now, take care of yourselves. I'll be back on Wednesday with more Rain World. We're finishing the second ending very shortly in that. But until then, take care of yourselves, and always remember to tell people you care about that you love them. I'll see you later. Bye.